welcome back to Afternoon Live. It's a terrible feeling when your pet is sick, and it's even worse if you know their suffering could have been avoided. March is Pet Poison Prevention Month. It's coming up, so here to share what you need to know to protect your pets, we welcome back our friend, Veterinarian Dr. Cherice Roth.
Hi, Hannah.
So nice to see you.
Thank you.
We got to think about the stuff that's safe for humans that's not safe for pets, because we forget sometimes.
That's exactly right, and that's actually the majority of how pet poisons happen. It's that, oh, I thought it was okay for us, but you know, dogs and cats and everybody are not tiny people. They're not just furry people. Their bodies work in many different ways.
What about human medication too? Does that come up?
That is the #1 toxin.
Oof.
And usually it is accidental, right? I dropped a pill or I left the bottle laying around and my naughty puppy chewed the bottle and the pills. And so it is definitely something to take very seriously.
Yeah.
Time is of the essence anytime you think that your pet has gotten into a toxin.
Right. Yeah, you got to act quickly. Well, and we should go over some human foods that we know are unsafe. And we've got kind of different categories for cats and dogs too.
Yes, exactly. And so even with cats versus dogs, they're not tiny dogs. So things like lilies, for example, is definitely something that is deadly. All parts of the plant, absolutely deadly to felines, whereas dogs, doesn't really bother them much.
I think we have a graphic that we can share of some common foods to be avoided, and some of these we know well, like chocolate. I think a lot of people understand that, but some of these things I wouldn't automatically think of.
Yeah, so especially things like xylitol. Xylitol is actually the fake sugar, right? And sometimes it's not even called xylitol on the label. Sometimes it's called birch sugar, wood sugar, those sorts of things. But it absolutely tanks their blood sugar and it does terrible things to their livers as well. Alcohol, caffeine, both stimulant and depressants, both heavily impact their liver and their kidneys as well. And these are all things that are usually around our household, right? And so that's the part I think that is so terrifying about it. And then the other pieces of things that are okay for us to eat, like avocado. So with that one, the actual meat of the avocado, so the actual flesh on the inside, isn't really the issue. It's the skin and that darn pit. When I tell you, anytime, like, that is an automatic surgery. If they take that in, you got to go get that out immediately. And then another one that is very interesting is onions and garlic.
Oh gosh.
They're in the same family of plants, and what they do is they actually create a toxin inside the body that kills red blood cells.
No.
Yes. And so so I get like really worried when people are like, oh, I'm giving them garlic for fleas, and I'm like, please don't, because then I'm gonna have to give them blood too. Well,
and such common ingredients that we use all the time.
Yes, they're definitely not tiny people, but if they do happen to get into a toxin, you are not helpless, right?
Okay.
There are apps. The ASPCA Pet Poison app is available and free, and so if you're in doubt, look it up, right?
Sure.
And it kind of gives you an idea of even dose dependency. Another is the Pet Poison Helpline. That you can actually call, and they can work with your veterinary team in order to help you make the best decision of what needs to happen next for your pets.
That's amazing, and there are some really incredible people doing the work, and they're ready to help you.
24/7.
They want your pet to be okay too.
Yes, 24/7. Isn't that incredible?
That's amazing. Well, and I think, did we talk about raisins and grapes, and what's the difference there for cats and dogs?
Not a huge difference, to be completely honest. The raisins and the grapes are, we just actually learned a few years ago what the chemical even was in there that was causing the issue. The important thing is that it causes what's called an idiosyncratic reaction. What that means is it's not dose dependent. So if you can have a sensitive pet get 1 grape, go into kidney failure. Whereas another dog may get 10 grapes or have been getting grapes their whole life. So it means that you cannot predict how that animal is going to interact with it, but it absolutely trashes and kills their kidneys.
Okay, what other chemicals, insecticides should we be thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, definitely any of the rat baits, ant baits, those sorts of things. You want to try your best to just keep your pets away from them. With a lot of the household cleaners, you're going to have primarily like topical reactions, which means if they lick it, they might burn their tongue or burn their esophagus, and these are chemical burns. And if they happen to get it down, this is where that Pet Poison Helpline and the ASPCA, excuse me, are really, really helpful, because with chemicals like that, if you went rogue and tried to make your pet vomit, you're re-burning their esophagus and their mouth with them going on the way out, with it coming on the way out. So it's really important to have that veterinary professional telling you. But yeah, I mean, with household cleaners, not only are they toxic, but they're also caustic and causing those burns.
What are some warning signs to look out for if, you know, your pet got into something and you didn't even see it happen? What are some symptoms to be alert for?
Yeah, I mean, it really does vary by the toxin, right? And so what I always look for is evidence. Like if they're not acting like themselves, I'm looking around, is there something they could have gotten into? And look for that, because that's really going to determine what signs you should be looking for. Or things like chocolate, you will start with vomiting and diarrhea, but it can get so severe that they start having cardiac arrhythmias based on the dosing. Whereas with the raisins and the grapes, there can be no signs at all, and their kidneys just die. And so, you know, I was just thinking about one of the patients that just broke my heart. He was amazing family, amazing pet, and we didn't figure it out until it was too late. But it really does wildly vary as to kind of what are the things that it got into, as to what signs you should be looking for.
Yeah, all the more reason for us just to be so vigilant about all of these ingredients, and you know, we got to take care of our pets and our families. Thank you so much.
My
Great to see you. This is great information. We'll have more on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.